Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. My name's Penny. I live in Central Illinois and I'm a knitter, a blogger, a YouTube podcaster, and an Instagrammer. Hi everybody. Today is Friday, September 5th, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome to new viewers and welcome back to those who have been here before. I hope you're having a great September start. Here in Central Illinois, it is beautiful. We've had cool weather, and I'm fairly certain I could say that I'm not going to have to turn on the air conditioning for the rest of the season, and I'm hoping we're well into end of October before I have to turn the heat on. I'm hoping. It's beautiful. It's been some nice days for sitting out on the porch early in the morning with a sweater on, and afternoons and evenings, except for the cicadas here in Central Illinois. They just deafen you out when you come back inside. Your ears are just like, you can't really hear everything. So let's just get started with the knitting. Grab your cuppa, and this is one of my Elizabeth Zimmerman saying cups that I received from my friend Annetta some time ago. Properly practiced knitting soothes the troubled spirit, and it doesn't hurt the untroubled spirit either. So that is what I'm drinking, and some more caramel macchiato today. So grab your knitting, grab your cuppa, whatever beverage that you choose to drink, and let's kick back and talk about some knitting. It has been a bit since I have podcast because if you know what my life's been like lately, we've been doing a lot of traveling, a lot of things going on here at Shea PJ Knits. And so I was going to do it earlier in the week, and then I'm like, well, I really want to finish this. I want to do that. So, and finally, I had knitting today, and I'm like, I'm going to come home and do a podcast and then get it out so that you all have something to knit to this weekend if you're so inclined. So let's just get started. We're going to start with the finished objects, and the first one that I am wearing is the title for today's podcast, and it is the Hello Friend by Leslie Friend. It is a vest, and I just love this pattern. I'm going to refer to my journal notes to talk to you a little bit about it, but a couple of interesting things about this. I knew that I wanted to knit this vest some time ago, and it is one of the vests that I'm taking to Norway. And I decided what I wanted to do is Leslie designed this out of Oslo Number 1, which is a Danish yarn, I believe. And so I ordered the yarn. I talked about this before in one of my KORN knitting on right now, that I didn't really realize that this yarn that I bought had Angora in it until I was knitting on it and feeling it and thinking about it, and like, oh my gosh, I really love this. What's the content? So the yarn is, like I said, it is Oslo Number 1 or Unling. I'm not sure proper pronunciation. It's a super soft wool and Angora. It's a DK/worsted. 197 yards, and I chose to do it in navy. And if you've been following along for our trip later this month to Norway, I wanted to kind of have a wardrobe that kind of went with blue jeans and went with other things. And so they did not have a teal, so I chose a dark navy. I started it on the 2nd of July, and I finished it on the 31st of August. I used I started out, I had a swatch. I did do a swatch with it. I ended up recasting on the next day because I wasn't liking necessarily the fabric I was getting. And I recast it on with a size 5 needle. I knit the size 4, which is a finished 42-inch bust. And I stayed pretty true to the pattern until I got to 6 inches below the armhole, because as I've talked about many times on my sweaters, I have a larger hip than my waist and my bust, of course. And so at 6 inches, I started doing the increases so that I could get and I increased every fourth row on both sides around so that I could get it to fit really well. And then when I ended up, I was about at 292 stitches on it, and I did the rib via Susan Rainey's technique, where that first row of rib, so that the rib doesn't flare out, you increase 15%ish. And so that kind of took me way up to the 292 stitches. And then I did a ribbing, and then I bound off as to purl with a size 6 needle. So when it was all said and done, I used 212 grams. And if you follow me on my Ravelry project page under PJKnits 1, later I will have all the details there of what I did and some pictures on my body as well. And at this point in time, I have not blocked it because I really love everything about it. But I think I like the width, the around. I liked all of that, and I liked the length. But after trying it on today, I realized that I really probably need to do a little bit more. I spritzed the back rib. I spritzed the ribs is what I did in lieu of blocking, and then lightly spritzed it. And what I have found that is on those increases in the body, I realized that I really need to go back and spritz those flat so that they are not so protruding as it would be. So all said and done, 212 grams. I have sufficient left to make some mitts to go with something else I'm hoping to do. So I will stand up, just give you a little view of what it's like. I'm loving this. I love everything about this. I put it over a white shirt. I'm not always a kind of a button-down shirt person, so I'm kind of on the fence as far as that's concerned. I have some mock turtlenecks that I will love to wear this when we're in Norway, so that probably is what I'm going to go with, but I might just do this. But I'll stand up, just give you a little view of it. And maybe go back this way just to give you a little feel for the length as far as that's concerned. I love it. I think it's going to be so warm, but I just want to kind of press that down just a little bit. And like I said, I like the length. It hits just where I want. So I did do a lot of measurements so that I would make it so that it fit just the way I wanted it to as well. So that is my finished object for one of the Norway trips, and it goes with the blue jeans and with black pants really quite well. So, and then the next one I have to show you is my Musselburgh Number 10. This yarn I did out of Gauge Dye Works in the Birth Flowers colorway. It is November Chrysanthemum, one-way trip in her trifecta fingering, and it's in the colorway is November Chrysanthemum. She was doing a monthly flower colorway, and so I decided to do November since it's my birthday month. I used 94 grams of this for it, and this is number 10 on a size 4 needles, and I did a size adult medium. So here is, again, there'll be pictures in my project page under PJKnits later, and then I'll also post onto Instagram. So just to give you a little look of what this looks like there, and then we'll just flip it over. And then here is the other colorways of it. So adult medium size 4, just did the same thing. This was so much fun to just see how the colors changed. I could have went just a little bit more in here, but did not realize when I was working on this with the green that the green that was here was not the same as here. So I could have kept going, but it is fine the way it is. I just love it, and this is a scrumptious yarn for sure to knit with. And I love the way. I want to try another. I have another yarn upstairs that I would like to try another one in these striping, these large stripes, to see how that all comes out. So that is my Musselburgh Number 10. I still have number 9 on the needles. It is out in the car, but that one will come in a couple of weeks and go with me as well. So those are the couple of finished objects that I had to show you for this episode. Now, I want to just talk about, well, I've got my journal open here. I want kind of just summarize, you know, give you a synopsis of what happened in August. I did finish the big blanket for my great nephew, gave it to him, and then Hello Friend was done. So in the month of August, I had a couple of other things that are on my list, but they've kind of like carried over into September, and we'll talk about them at another point in time. But yarn that went out was 1,426 grams. Yarn that went in was 120 grams, and I'll share that with you in just a moment. So for the month, I was a minus. You know, I knit more than I brought in. I was a minus of 1,306, but because I bought quite a bit of yarn when we were at Maker's Meetup, for the year, I'm a plus 1,881 grams. So, yeah, that's all right. I think that it's doable by the end of the year because I have a lot of knitting that I'm working on right now. So I think if I hold to task here, I should be okay. But I wanted to share that that August stuff with you from my journal, and I hope that you all are doing a knitting journal as well, because I just love looking back at my journals, at the knits that I've done, and then easily accessible when I want to go back and just look at stuff. And I've been taking pictures and putting them in. I purchased a Kodak little mini printer from Amazon. And so then I do these little, they're like wallet size photos that I can put into my journal, and kind of like of a scrapbook type. So wanted to share that with you. So next up, knitting. What's on my needles right now? Knitting on right now at KORN, and I wanted to share that I have not worked as much on it as I'd like to, because I really can't see myself knitting too much on this sweater, Ridge Forrester from the Finished Knits book, until after I complete or get really close to completing all of my Norway knits. And I still have a few, one big project and one small project, but I'm knitting, I had been knitting on this particular sweater. It's a knit along that Debbie and our friend Pat is doing. And so I just am going to share this with you to show you where I'm at right now on it. This is the back, and yarn that I also purchased at Woolen Company when we were up there for Maker's Meetup. We all bought our yarn. And so it's got some really super, super cool yarns here. The mohair was a new one, and I've talked about this in the last episode, the knit as well, Ito Sensei, and then another yarn. So I really am kind of slowing my roll on this and not knitting on it as much right now, because I told myself I could get it started, but I could not work on it really until all my Norway knits are done, and that I have a couple other things that need to be completed. And so I don't want to, I don't be working on that when I still have some things that I want to be done. So that's kind of the knitting on right now that's not Norway. And so I'm going to share some things that I am knitting on with For Norway, specifically, that I hope to have done. And some of these you have seen before. This is the Oslo Hat. This is one that I'm trying to work on down at the shop now. And still have quite a bit of knitting to do on it for sure, but it's the Oslo Hat, because we're going to be in Oslo, and that yarn is the Tibetan, Pasquale Tibetan Woolly Yak. So I'm working on it. That's to go with my batad that James gifted me at the meetup. So I am working on that, and it's the Oslo Hat by Petite Knit. We thought as long as we were going to be in Oslo, we should knit one of these. And so this is slow going because I'm working on something else, but there you go. By Petite Knit, the Oslo Hat. And I will tell you ahead of time that I have the windows open here, so you may hear cars going by and maybe a bus. School bus, we just don't know yet. But anyway, this is where I was last time we met. And this is what I've done so far. But I have a project that I'm working on today, and then hopefully I will get back to that. So that is one of the Knitting for Norway. And then in conjunction with Knitting for Norway, as well as Fiber Fridays, I am working on another sweater that I hope to have done to take. I'm not 100% sure that it's going to get done. I'm going to try my best I've tried to work on this on Fridays, mostly on Fiber Fridays. And what Fiber Fridays is for me is on Friday afternoon, after I've been knitting at the shop, I come home and I try to spend most of the rest of my Friday by knitting on a different fiber, more fibery, maybe a little bit more woolly, more Shetland type yarn. And so I tried to do that on the Fridays, and I had started it last year and it didn't work out very well, but I have several projects that I want to work on this winter. So I'm going to try and continue that. But what I'm working on now for Norway is called Sea Change. It's by Jennifer Steingass, Knit Love Wool. And the yarn that she recommended is the yarn that I purchased for it, that she designed it out of. It is BC Garn Samilla Melange, which is 100% organic wool. And it reminds me a lot of a sport weighty cross between a Shetland and a Cascade 220, the regular worsted yarn, not the superwash. It gives that kind of a feel of a hand. And so I am using the yarn that she actually knit that out of. And today I'm pretty certain when I get done off the podcast today, I'm going to double measure these sleeves, but I do think that after knitting on it today, I have 2 sleeves done. I just have to measure them. And then I've started the body, and so the body this is worked bottom up, which I'm okay with. And I did a few extra increases in it to encompass my arm as well. So I think I'm pretty certain when I'm done, I will have the sleeves done and I can go back to the body and work on that. Just go around and around. But that's what I'm working right now on for my Fiber Fridays. And also to get in ready for Norway. I have a couple of other mittens that I want to do. One out of the leftover of the onling and one out of a leftover Emma's yarn, but I'm going to save that for the next podcast to talk to you about. So I'm not going to bore you with that because I barely cast on the one set, but I hope to have those done. So I also am already planning on Musselburghs for the trip. First of all, what I'm doing is I'm casting them on because the cast on is really super fiddly. And I use double points, and so I have to be in my own space, nice and quiet. Have you ever had that? Nice and quiet, nobody interrupting, no TV on, so that because you start out with such small amount of stitches and then go from there. And that fact that we do believe that on one of our jaunts that when we go to Norway, we cannot use knitting needles on it, definitely not metal. And so I'm putting it on wood needles, and easy enough to, if by chance they take my needles away, we'll just pull it out and I'll have spare needles and I just won't knit on the plane. But I'm hoping that does not happen. But what I've done is I've cast on a Musselburgh. This is Musselburgh number 11 that I would like to knit on while I'm on the plane, see how far I can get, and then finish it out. And what I'm using is a yarn from last October that our Yarny friends got together for our yearly October get together in Peoria, and we went over to Clinton, and we went over to Leading Men Fiber Arts, if you remember this from last year, and we dyed yarn. And so I have skeined up and cast on for my plane ride and for the first leg of the trip, my yarn. And what I've decided to call this one, which is really kind of a play on somebody else's, I do know that, but this is me, and it's their Showstopper base, and I am calling the colorway Knitting on the Porch. And so, like I said, I have cast on, And here's what it looks like. There's the start of my hat for on the plane, and I put on these, it's on these bamboo hayas, so I'm hoping that I don't lose those along the way. So I've got that cast on. I have a plan for, I'm going to bring in my number 9. I'm hoping to just pop that in my luggage, and when it's in my luggage, then when I'm on the boat, then I can knit on that. Hopefully I'll get number 9 done, and I'd like to cast on one more, which would be number 12, and then put number 13 all skeined up in my luggage just in case. You know how us knitters are, we think we're going to get more done than we are, but I like to be prepared. So I have a number 1. I had a thought that what I wanted this to be for number 11 was my youngest granddaughter she's up until last weekend, she is a lover of pink, all things pink. She's a frilly girl. She's a dressy girl. She's a pose girl. And so I saw this kit yarn that Molly Klein Design had. She sent me a message on Instagram. And so I purchased the kit because I thought this would be a great Musselburgh that perhaps she would like. Well, she informs me last weekend that her new favorite color is green. And I'm not so sure that that's going to stay like that, but one never knows. But so anyway, I had intentions of kitting this one up. And so I'm still not sure what I'm going to do. If I'm going to wind this one up and take it as a Musselburgh and cast on for on the trip back. I haven't decided. I'm kind of thinking I am going to do that, but I'm not sure. I may save it. But anyway, here is the yarn. This is Molly Klein Designs Crush. And this is part of the kit. What got me was this pink, because I thought this would be perfect for my youngest granddaughter, right? And then the other pieces that came with it. Well, of course, I had to have the whole thing. And even if I make this and just put it in the, I can put it in I can make socks out of it, or I can put it in the gift Musselburgh hats. But here is the other pieces that came with it. These progress keepers. And then this bag. So anyway, I'm, again, not sure what it's going to be. I just don't know. It may just stay home, and I will think about it in the new year. And I'll skein something else up. Could very, very likely be that going forward. One never knows. So, gosh, those are kind of the things I really wanted to talk to you about. I just have a couple of things now that I just want to touch bases with you before I forget. Now, I drew a winner from all the comments last time of the bag, the PJKnits bag. Whoops, I'm going to show you the back. This lovely vinyl that Sandy made for the podcast to give away. So this is going to go out, and also then I have a packet of Color Morph with What Porpoise by Wonderland Yarns. It's Mad Hatter Sport Wave that is going to go out with that. And the winner from last episode is Amy Hass. Congratulations, Amy. Now, Amy, if you will send me your mailing address, I will get this out to you next week so that you can have your bag and your yarn pretty quick. So congratulations, and thank you everybody who comments. It is so much fun to read your comments. I try to respond. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to respond, but I really do appreciate that so very much. And then one of the things I'd like to do is a little bit of a knit along, starting like immediately, and would like for this knit along, no pressure. I would like for this knit along to go through the first day. I take that back, rewind that, reverse that. I would like for this to start on the first day of fall, which is the 22nd of September. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. You can start now, that's okay. But it would also then, it would end December 20th, which is the last day of fall. And what I'm going to try and do is clean up the whips that I have in my 2025 journal, and they are here, earmarked. I would like to have a clean slate when we hit winter. Now I know one of these is Sylvan, which is really, it is a spring one. So I know that one's not going to be done, but I would like to do, and I would like to throw it out here to when we're going to call this the fish or cut bait. Do you have whips out there that you want to finish, or you want to cut bait on them? And when I say cut bait, it means snip them and do something, repurpose the yarn if you want. For me, sometimes cut bait means snip the yarn, throw the project away, get the needles, and then donate the balance of the yarn. For some reason or other, I've lost interest in it. They're not going to fit, or somebody's colorway is not the same. So I'd like to do just a little, no frills, no pressure, kind of knit along between the first day of fall and the last day of fall. And I will put a thread out in the PJKnits Ravelry group, where I'd love for you to post pictures of what you'd like to finish and what you cut bait on and what you do finish. And at the end of fall, we will do a drawing from all of those finished from all of those postings. Doesn't have to necessarily be finished. It can be ones you've cut bait on, and we'll do a little prize drawing from that, from a sandy bag from the collection. So, and then finally, what I would like to do is a giveaway for a fall bag from Sandy, because the weather here is gorgeous fall, perfect fall. And we're going to do a little giveaway for the next podcast, which I hope to do right before we head out to Norway. But I would like for you to give us some suggestions in the comments below of things that you would like to knit for either transitional. I don't have any transitional knits that I'm really doing this year, because I have quite a few 3/4 sleeves, and I have ones to pull out of my my drawer to knit on. What I am thinking about is for when I get back from Norway, as I've said, is things that I want to knit on for winter, because I'm really excited about that. So give us some comments about what your thought plan is. Do you do transitional knits? If you are thinking about it, I'm one for knitting ahead of the season. Said that before. But tell us what you're thinking about knitting for this fall, this winter. Tell us about the yarns. Give us some ideas for those of us that might need someone, some new ideas. I really have been enjoying a lot of podcasts where they're showing me different sweaters, different knits for fall and winter, not the ones that everybody's knitting on. I love it when I find a podcast that does that shows those things. So give us some thoughts down below, and we will do a sandy bag giveaway in the next episode just for fall. It has a lovely brown bottom in vinyl, which I love that she does that. And then the inside has a pocket, as always. Look at that, it has the pocket and all of that. So that will be our next giveaway for our sandy bag, and hopefully I can get that out right. I'm going to plan on doing a podcast right before that same week that we leave out on, like Friday in 3 weeks. So I'm going to try and do a podcast that Monday before I go, to kind of give you an overview of what I'm taking as far as knits, and show you some finished things for Norway knits, and we'll talk about some fall knits. I'll kind of give you a thought of what I want to do as soon as I get home, and where I want to go with that one. So I hope you'll knit along on both thought processes, the fish and cut bait, and also tell us what you're knitting for fall and winter, because It's coming, right? It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So until next time, I hope you're having so much fun with your knitting and you're enjoying the weather. I hope the weather's great wherever you are. And just have a great fall. Just enjoy and do all the things. You know, life is short. Do all the things. And so until next time at the end of the month, bye. You can find me on Ravelry. I am PJKnits1. The Ravelry group is PJKnits. And on Instagram, I am PJKnits as well.